Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha Farbach. At a time when Europe is trying to strengthen its security and reduce dependence on the United States, Germany finds itself navigating both external and internal pressures. Now, the collapse of the Future Combat Air System fighter project has exposed divisions over Europe's defense future, while record levels of politically motivated crime and renewed controversy around the AfD have intensified debate about Germany's political direction. Joining us now is Kai-Olaf Lang, Senior Fellow from German Institute for International and Security Affairs. Good to have you with us. Welcome.
Hello.
Let's take off right into this project, this FCAS, so this Future Combat Air System. Now, this goes back to the early 2000s. It seems to have now collapsed, seen as this ideal between French and German defense cooperation. Now that it's not happening, what does that say about Germany's maybe ambitions in the defense industry? They may even now have to buy more F-35s.
That's obviously one of the options. Of course, it tells us quite something about the state of Franco-German relations. Of course, the fact that the project didn't work out had much to do with differences in the industrial sphere between the companies on both sides. There was Dassault and Airbus. And at the end, politics was not able to help the project to overcome these divergencies. Now, this was to be a sort of a flagship project for Europe in a way, but also especially also for the Bundeswehr. Now, there are other options which will have to be tested. Probably the UK is out. Buying F-35 is an option. Saab and Sweden are an additional option. I think one of the questions now, two questions are now decisive. What can be saved from the project? So the question of the digitalization and interconnected platforms, so parts of this project are still important. And the other thing is how soon, how swift will Germany find and implement a plan B, which is important for the whole Zeitenwende, so for kind of upgrading the Bundeswehr and making Germany able to play the role it wants to play for European security and defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just also, I mean, just curious really briefly as well. I mean, Europe talks a lot about the strategic autonomy of building up, standing on our own, weaning away from the Americans. But at the same time, do you sense that there's a bit of a gap there between European ambitions and the realities of procurement right now?
Yeah, there are many ideas, plans, and projects, but to make them happen is very difficult. Even if you have two countries, two industrial sectors which have a long-standing experience of cooperation. So many other projects, be it in the field of long-range fire of new missile systems, we have minilateral projects. So not only industries, companies from two countries, but also from 3, 4, or 5 countries. And this is even more ambitious and more difficult. So yes, this is a very long way to reach, call it as you like, European sovereignty or strategic autonomy, especially in the sphere of defense and armaments cooperation.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot is being done on the defense front, so that's still an ongoing process. I mean, that's to address one threat. Let's look at the internal threat for a moment as well. Now, there's some numbers I just want to share with you coming out from Germany. Apparently, 85,800 plus, really, politically motivated crimes recorded in 2025. Now, that's an all-time record in Germany. Half of that is linked to far-right incidents. Also, I think about 25% to the far-left incidences. So what does that say about where Germany is right now in terms of its internal security?
Obviously, there is a growing political polarization. The fringes are stronger than they have been. Traditionally, the German society has a predilection for stability, for consensus. And now with the uncertainties about the German economy, with the new political parties from the far right especially, but also to some extent on the left, gaining ground, this has also implications for the general mood and the political. So I think, it's part of a sort of a new political reality, which we have in many other European countries. But for Germany, this is quite new.
Mm-hmm. As you're saying, it's quite new for Germany. It's been seen as a tolerant place. Part of that also, part of these statistics, looking at this, about 14,000 of those recorded crimes have been election-related offenses as well. So that also shows us something. Now, given that, I want to combine that with my next question. We have the leader of the AfD in the state of Thüringen, Björn Höcke, who recently just said a few days ago that, well, West Germans aren't really Germans, actually. So when we have that kind of rhetoric, this sort of stats on the one hand, how should ordinary Germans, how should policymakers react?
Now, I think that has also something to do with intra-German divides, especially between the western part and the eastern part. So the German unification still is. There's some open questions related to the German unification, sort of identity politics, which parties in the 1990s from the far left, now rather from the far right, especially in the eastern part of Germany, tried to use for their agenda. And I mean, we have this combination with economic hardships, the transformation of the German industries, for example, the automotive sector, then a feeling of threat from the outside. The Russia question is also divisive in Germany. The question marks related to transatlantic relations and the stability of NATO. So I think there is a growing sense of where Germany stands, and if stability, that we cannot take stability for granted anymore. And this, of course, also opens up flanks for contesting movements, for political groups which want to divide and which want to change Germany fundamentally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think those, as you said, those are coming from the far right and the far left. I mean, this is something Germany has to grapple with. But also back on the diplomatic front, just going to get your sense as well. We have Germany's Foreign Minister, Mr. Vadapul, who's hosting the new Foreign Minister of Hungary, who's named Anita Orban, although there's no relation to the original Orban. What can we expect from that meeting? What does that say? Where is that relationship going right now?
Now, there is a hope that there will be a new start after German-Hungarian relations have been frosty in the period of Viktor Orban, especially due to Orban's policy vis-à-vis Russia, but there have been also other issues. And traditionally, German-Hungarian relations were quite close in terms of economy, societal relations, and there is also a sort of founding myth when Hungary opened the Iron Curtain in 1989, when before 1989, Germans from the east and from the west met in Hungary at Lake Balaton and so on. So there is a long tradition of close relations, and now there is a hope that kind of the political dimension can be revitalized. Fresh start in Europe, but I think looking closer at Hungarian politics, we know that Peter Magyar, the new prime minister, will have also difficulties to implement his ambitious agenda of reforms, also to unlock, to unfroze European money. But I think there will be a new atmosphere of maybe not harmony, but of togetherness, of cooperation. And this is important for Germany because Germany needs partners in Europe, and it is especially looking for partners in Central Europe, because with some of the traditional parties, the balance sheet has been mixed in the last years.
All right, so new partners, so that's the operative word there. I'll see how that pans out. We'll be following it closely. Thanks so much for that. Always a pleasure having you. Kai-Olaf Lang there, Senior Fellow from the German Institute for International and Security Affairs.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, but stay right here on TVP World for more news and commentary. Goodbye.